Welcome to the Upstate CFO Council. This organization was founded in 2019 by Robert Bendetti in order to provide a networking and educational forum for senior financial executives to share best practices, to discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their job.
Randy, how are you doing this morning?
Doing very good, thank you.
Thanks for doing this. I'm excited. This is a virtual meeting. This is the first time we've met. Randy just joined the council a couple of months ago. So thank you very much for doing this, sir.
I'm enjoying it so far.
Well, Randy Richeson is the VP of Global Tax at Milliken. Before that, I think you worked at Eastman Chemicals Company. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was at Eastman Chemical for about, probably about 13 years, 14 years.
And you have a sparse LinkedIn profile, but that will not stop me. And I believe I was still able to find that you got your undergrad at Arizona State University. Is that true, sir?
Correct. Your surveillance is good. I graduated from Arizona State University in 1983.
Further surveillance revealed that I think you were born in Inman, South Carolina, and you moved to Tennessee, Arizona, and then back to Inman, South Carolina.
Oh my goodness. Good try. I was born in West Virginia, actually, and then from there moved all over the country. So I grew up in grade school, start with grade school in Houston, Texas, Dayton, Ohio, and then moved to the Phoenix area, Mesa, Arizona, to be specific, seventh grade through high school, graduated from there. Then I went to Milligan College, which sounds like where I work. Milligan College is in Johnson City, Tennessee. I went there for 2 years, played basketball, thought I was going to be an engineer, transferred back to the Valley of the Sun and finished at ASU.
Well, I'm going to call that like 25% correct.
I'll give you more than that. I'll give you 50.
Okay. All right. And this one I think is actually true, Randy. I think you're a recent Milliken Award winner. Were you one of the 2019 Ethics Award winners at Milliken?
There was about probably 25 of us in that group. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Well done. Randy, it's a pleasure to get to meet you. Let's get started. Question number one. What is your favorite business book and why?
I don't know if I'd call it a business book, but it's the best one I can use, and I use it quite a bit. The title of it is They Call Me Coach, and it's the autobiography of John Wooden, who was the legendary coach at UCLA back in the 70s. And it's just full of common sense advice, can be used in business and personal life. I routinely use quotes from that book of John Wooden. A lot of people that are watching or listening to this may not be old enough to remember John Wooden or UCLA basketball back then, but it was just it's a book that, like I say, in my career, I've harkened back to some of the sayings from that book many times. My favorite one is, it's amazing how much can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit. It's that kind of thing.
That's a good quote and perfect transition to the next question. Randy, what's the best advice that you have ever received?
Probably was from one of the tax partners at Price Waterhouse at the time. I think he's with another firm now, but his name was David McDonald. And in 1993, Eastman Kodak spun off Eastman Chemical Company to the company it is today, a freestanding company. There was a lot of long hours for a good 7 or 8 months going through that. And I don't believe I was so much rattled, although it probably was a little bit. I'll never forget him just saying, we're not saving lives here. In other words, putting it in perspective that no matter how tense or frustrated you might get in what you're doing in finance, tax, accounting, keep it in perspective. And it's that type of advice at the time in the heat of battle that really has lived throughout the days.
Ooh, that's good advice for now with what we're dealing with. Have perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it is terrible what we're all going through, and especially with the hardships that all of us have operating like from a guest room in your house or not being able to go to the office, but it all pales in comparison to what's really impacting people in their lives. and, trying to get a tax return out or work on a deal. Yeah, there's challenges, but again, like David McDonald, that was his name. He said, you're not saving lives.
Amen. Randy, what is a new habit that you've recently started or a new tool that you've recently started using that you have found beneficial?
And that tool is one that probably a lot on this group have seen, and it's called Alteryx. And Alteryx is a data manipulation tool that can be used in Excel to help streamline efforts. And many people that are watching or hearing this probably are already using it, but we've just started using it in the last few months. And I found that to be pretty much revolutionary.
Oh, that's cool. I've never even heard of Alteryx. I'm going to have to check that out. Is it like a BI tool, or is it just a data manipulation tool set? What's the Cliff Notes version of Alteryx?
It could probably meet both of those descriptors, but it, in short, lets you take a procedure that might take you weeks, if not months, where you're going out and grabbing different types of files, whether they be Excel files or flat files or SAP, and bring those into a white page and use commands and do it. Maybe it's an iterative calculation, and you can do it in maybe as little as 5 minutes, which would normally take you 5 weeks. And so we're new with it. But
Randy, I think that sounds like RPA, a little robotic process automation tool you got going on.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right, Randy, bringing it. Question number 4. What is the best part of your current job?
It's definitely working with the people that I have in the tax department at Milliken. I'm very fortunate. I'm involved, as many again are here, whether it be with ASCPA or maybe your state's CPA society or TEI. And I go to these meetings with other heads of tax. And it seems like over the last few years, we spend most of our time talking about people, talking about retention, how you try and achieve as what you're supposed to do with what you are limited with as far as the staff. And the staff that I have at Milliken is second to none, and really makes my job so much easier. And so that's by far the best.
That's awesome. When you got a great team, it makes your job a lot easier. So you are a blessed man. Yes. Randy, question number 5. What is something personal about yourself you'd be willing to share with the rest of the CFO Council?
I'm pretty involved in other activities outside of work, primarily with missionaries outside the country. I'm also fairly involved with what's called the Ombudsman program. Ombudsman is a word I didn't know either, but it's service groups that go out to nursing homes, elderly care facilities, and it's amazing. 70% of the people in a given skilled care facility or nursing home don't have a visitor within a year. I mean, it's a high number, and so I've been really blessed to have time to be able to do that. It's not a lot of time, but some, and so I kind of tie it in with some of the stuff I'm able to do with missionaries. Being a CPA, there's a real need out there for helping those groups to manage their fundraising, how they maybe support their missionary efforts. And so that's something I look forward to doing more in retirement.
Oh, that's great. What an awesome way to support your community. And I didn't realize that statistic about nursing home folks, that most don't have a visitor at all in a whole year. Wow.
Right.
Randy, question number 6. Last question. It happened so fast. What is something that I did not ask that I should have? And what is your answer to that?
Many people will find it surprising that even though I'm the head of tax for a company, I'm a CPA, I'm not an accountant. I at times will cajole others in my department and at Milliken about that. My degree is more in finance, and actually, even though I never used it, computer programming. And my first job out of college at ASU, I worked for a firm that handled professional athletes. And that job, the person who was my mentor said, hey, you've taken a lot of, for some odd reason, I took a lot of tax classes at ASU as my business electives that left me about 12, 15 hours shy of what was required at the time to take the CPA exam. Of course, now to be a CPA, you have to have an accounting degree, you have to have a master's degree. Back then, thank goodness I got under the wire, you just had to have a requisite number of accounting classes. So I kind of came in the back door to becoming a CPA. And so I don't necessarily share that as so much of an accomplishment or badge of honor, but more as an encouragement that, you know, you don't necessarily need to do something, you don't need to achieve your goals in a straight line all the time. And if you find that if young people are happen to listen to this and they're stuck and they don't know what to do, just keep prodding and you'll find your way.
Ooh, that's good life advice. And how true, just that visual of the straight line, and that's only, people only think life from one place to the next is a straight line because they're looking really far back at a distance. If you come up into anybody's life, it's more like a zigzag. And that's a powerful visual, Randy. Thank you for that. Wow. Well, Randy, this was awesome. Thank you for doing this. I got a new book recommendation. I haven't. I'm going to completely check out that Alteryx. I'm fascinated by robotic process automation and this idea that not just process automation, but that there are tools out there like you were describing that can access multiple systems, multiple tools, data sets, and it's almost like a macro in Excel on steroids. And it's amazing what can be done in 5 minutes instead of, like you said, days. So cool. Thank you very much for doing this and bringing so much great content to the rest of the council.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.